We are so happy to have you here tonight for our Mapping Suffrage virtual tour. And this is called Mapping Suffrage because I am going to share with you a wonderful resource that A Tour of Our Own developed with the National Museum of Women, a National Women's History Museum. So we're going to pull it up here, but I dropped the link in the chat box. So if you want to actually pull it up on your screen as well, that might be a little bit easier for you. So if you have not visited what is at the moment a primarily online museum, the National Women's History Museum, definitely check it out. This is an incredible resource for people that love and are passionate about women's history. Check that out. This was a special resource that myself, Caitlin Caligera, our founder, and Emma Rothberg, one of the wonderful educators at the museum, developed together. We created a special interactive map that tells the suffrage story throughout the streets of Washington, D.C. Now, the choice of using a map was really specific. As tour guides, as public historians, we are very place-based. What we love to do is actually show you where these things happened, right? Put you, on the ground as much as possible. You also, though, could go through it chronologically. And that's how we're going to go through it tonight. We sort of developed the map to tell a story about women's suffrage. You'll notice on every slide, we have an image. A lot of these images come from the museum or from the Library of Congress, the National Archives. And for many of the tabs, we'll actually have some additional information as well. So it's hard to show this all on a single screen, but if you were to scroll down, you'll see there are resources on just about every page of this map. These will link to other virtual exhibits, videos, podcasts, in-depth artifacts, digital artifacts for you to look at. So again, we're going to do an overview of the map and tell the suffrage story this evening, but I certainly encourage you to go to the map yourself because there's so much that we won't be able to show in our tour this evening. So that said, let's start with what we mean by sort of the suffrage movement. We had to pick a point for this map to begin, and we chose 1848. Women have been fighting for equal rights in this country from its very beginning, from its founding. So we know that this doesn't begin in 1848. But for our map's purposes, we start with the Seneca Falls Convention. When Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott, among others, gathered together in Seneca Falls, this is the first political convention for women to address women's rights and to really put forward a platform of issues that these women care about. And you may know or not know this, but there's actually a wonderful tribute to the mothers of this movement just inside the U.S. Capitol building. And I actually think I'll throw it over to Lindsay, because not only is Lindsay a wonderful tour guide, she also works at the U.S. Capitol building. So Lindsay, do you want to tell us just a little bit about this portrait monument of the mothers of the movement?
Yeah, so not only is this in the Capitol, it's in the Rotunda, which is, usually the one reason people come to the Capitol, and rightly so. And that room's built to impress. And so what makes this one special is, number one, its size. It's hard to see from this picture, but it actually has two bases to it to help displace its weight because it's so big. But it's big, it's there, you can't miss it, and I love it. But it was a gift to the Capitol, to Congress, from the National Women's Party, which we're going to be talking about later on tonight, in 1921. So a little bit after the passage of the 19th Amendment, which of course we will talk about tonight. And it was done by a female artist named Adelaide Johnson, who's actually buried on Capitol Hill, one of my favorite places, Congressional Cemetery. Now, the only issue with it's in its rightful place now. It was a gift in 1921, like I said. It's actually going to go downstairs to what we call the crypt, if you've never been to the Capitol. It's going to be there until 1997. And it was mostly due to how big it was, but it luckily got brought back up to the Rotunda, and it's been up there ever since. And it's up there with statues of presidents and other leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King, so it's certainly in a very appropriate place.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that anytime I see on a Capitol tour today, I get just really excited and I feel this sense of pride because for so long it had been sort of shifted out of sight and purposefully sort of kept away. And it took a lot of women, a lot of advocacy to get this in its rightful place. And this is really a kind of acknowledgement of these three women. There's Lucretia Mott, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and of course, Susan B. Anthony. Susan B. Anthony is not at the Seneca Falls Convention, but she will become one of those driving forces for really pushing the country towards the vote for women. What's so significant about 1848 is out of the Seneca Falls Convention, these women present their Declaration of Sentiments. And within this are proposed resolutions, including pushing for the right for women to vote. This is a movement that is going to take decades. It's going to be the work of many women, many ideas, but it really is born out of a group of women gathering together and trying to harness their political power.